What the players in here talked about your message at halftime. Among that was to grow up and to also kind of trust the process of things. What were you seeing in those first 14 minutes or so that you did not like? Obviously, the last 6 is when you got that 20-2 run in the break. But what was your evaluation of that first 15 minutes or so?
Yeah, we were soft. That I told our guys at halftime. In my career, my team has never been out-rebounded 3 games in a row. We were out-rebounded by Coastal Carolina. We were out-rebounded by Clemson. And we were tied at 20 at the half. Rebounding is a stat that if you're soft, it gets exposed. Now, if you're going to be soft, you better be extremely skilled. I get it. I don't like being soft. And, yesterday we practiced like a group of guys that miss being home on their couch with mom giving them milk and cookies. They looked like they were sad. And and that's how we played the first 8-10 minutes of the game. Then it started getting a little better, but it's we got to figure out a way to take the last 5-6 minutes of the first half, and the first 10 or so of the second half, and bottle that up and try to play with those disciplines and those enthusiasms and that strength. Then the last 10 minutes of the game, once again, we kind of went back to not doing things right. Obviously, I made some substitutions, and there's a reason why some guys don't play as much as others. That's just part of life. It's the way the thing works. But it's I like our team. I like our guys. That hasn't changed. But now we're in the fire, and like I told them, when you're in the fire, this isn't the off season. You have responsibilities. I have a responsibility. They as players have responsibilities. You have to man up and own up to your responsibilities, and that's something that we need to keep searching, and have someone on this team take ownership within the locker room.
Coach, is this team ready for SEC play? And if not, what's it going to take over these next 3 days to get ready for Ole Miss? Yeah,
whether we are or not, it's not like they're going to postpone it till I say, hey, okay, we're good now. We can start. Game's on the schedule. We've played real well this year, and we've played pretty bad at times this year. It's kind of consistent with how young people are. It's kind of up and down. That's you try to find for balance. But we did some real good things today in that middle segment of the game. But then we also did some very bad things the last 10 minutes defensively more than anything. I thought the first 10 minutes of the second half we finally defended with a little enthusiasm, a little discipline, a little toughness. We rebounded the ball on both ends, but then that kind of went out the window again. So it's all part of the deal. It's a long season. I think we'll be fine. I really do. I wouldn't say that if I didn't mean it. I'm not trying to make anyone feel good. Our point guard play has to get better. It's not very good right now. If you were to ask me what am I concerned about going into SEC play, I'm concerned about our point guard play. We're not getting good basketball there right now.
I was going to ask you about that. Obviously, Corey down in the mix now for a little bit. Hassani going through some things. Where do you like Wes in that process? Like, what can you keep kind of tinkering there at that spot?
Wes has been pretty consistent. Wes just has to. Wes probably our more consistent player at the point right now. Wes has to, at times, think that he's at Maine and just go and score, be aggressive. And he's too consumed with trying to run the team at some things. And it's all new to him. I've probably haven't repped him at point guard as much as I need to, which now he will. He will not rep at anything but the point guard spot. So there's some stuff that we try to do offensively that you can tell when I call it, he's kind of out there playing and he's trying to think, I got to go, and I don't want him to play that way. It's my job to create peace in his mind so there's no indecision. So then he can play, be aggressive. Like he had opportunities today to go score, and he kind of passed it up to try to run something. And there's a fine balance there. And there's a time to go and there's a time not to go. And he's got to figure it out. And then Hassani, He's carrying, I just told him in the locker room. They handed the baton to him. You got to take ownership. You know, it's it's part of the deal. You know, everyone wants to play. Hey, coach, don't play me, man. So now coach plays you. Well, with that comes unbelievable responsibility, and he's trying to figure it out.
Coach, I know you're a football guy. I know with
Oh,
him,
yeah.
yeah. So trying to go
See,
off.
that perks me up.
Yeah, see, I got you, Coach. See, about the whole idea about being able to play fast, you know what you're doing. From the mental standpoint, using that analogy with basketball, with some of the things that was going on today, is it more of a lack of confidence, or it's just, I know you talked about consistency, but being afraid to make that mistake. Is that one of the things you're sensing, or?
Nah, just you don't want your players to have indecision. But basketball is just like football now. It comes to one play. And it's that gap between the guard and the tackle. And there's going to be a collision in that hole every single play between a linebacker and a fullback, or now in today's day and age, it's an H-back or whatever they call it. But there's going to be a collision in that hole every play. Who's going to win that collision every play? Is that right tackle going to block the end? Is the left guard going to block the tackle to create an opening so then that fullback and that linebacker collide? Who's going to win that collision? Because if the linebacker wins it time after time after time, then your running back starts running sideways. He runs sideways, you're losing. You got to get in that gap. And now is the linebacker not going to give in? Because if the linebacker gives in, then your running back gets in the hole. And if he gets in the hole, now he's running at that safety in the middle of the field, which is impossible to make tackles that way. Basketball's the same way. It's no different. You got to have a free mind so you can be quick and fast to your decisions. But then at the end of the day, are you going to man up and deal with that collision? Or are you going to be the guy that kind of, you know, we used to call it when we were kids, be the ostrich. You know what that means, right? Like you go into the hole, and instead of taking on the hit, you kind of act like you fell down and you stick your head in the ground. You know, which one are you? Which one are you? And that's, we got some guys that aren't comfortable with that collision right now. And that, so you know how you fix that? You keep putting them in a collision. And eventually they become immune to it. And you know, and then some guys are never comfortable with it, and hard to put those guys in games.
Is David one of those guys that you feel like, though, is getting better at kind of taking on those collisions and going to the rim and attacking? Obviously, we saw it a little bit at Clemson. It was on more display here. It kind of gave you that spark toward the end of the first half today.
Yeah, David's problems, when we recruited him, he's coming at you now. He don't care who you are. Offensively, he's coming at you. It's how he plays. That's what attracted him to us to him, or him to us, whatever, in the recruiting process, is that aggression that he plays with. David's got some real bad defensive habits. And anyone in here, like myself, that's ever had a bad habit, those are hard to break. And he's got to continue to work at getting rid of those habits and play with better defensive habits. Because what happens is, you can say, well, I don't know. It's the way I think. But you can limit a guy that comes at you offensively. You can expose a guy that breaks you down defensively. He can't break us down defensively. I thought the whole first half when he played, I thought he played through better habits defensively. And then in the second half, he reverted to those defensive habits. But offensively now, he's coming at you. He don't care who it is. David's one of those guys that he's going into that collision. He's not running away from it. I'm cool with all that. But defensively, he's got to break bad habits. He's got some real bad habits right now, and he's got to break them. Here's what's scary. He's a lot better now than he was a month ago defensively. But he still, you know, he exposes us with some of his mistakes, and that's, you know, that's not. We don't have 4 seniors behind them to kind of protect them. You know, we got guys that are still trying to figure it out.
Frank, I know this isn't the first time that you guys have played a Division II school, and I know how important it is to you to be able to help some of these South Carolina schools out. Coach was just talking about that, having the opportunity to come here. What does it mean to you, though, to be able to do that, and especially when you hear things about how much it actually means to those programs? That's
what it's all about. That's why, you know, my administration's been great. There's some other administrations that don't allow the coaches to do this. It's a win-win. it's a win-win. You know, it's the bunch of South Carolina kids on the roster, some South Georgia kids. You know, families have a chance to come watch them play in a big SEC arena. Some of those kids maybe, you know, dreamt of playing here one day, and it just didn't work out. You know, some of those guys, you know, they've been at home for Christmas chomping at the bit like, yo, we get to play a team that went to the Final Four last year. That's pretty awesome. And then at the end of the day, that school, we're fortunate. We got our challenges here financially, okay? Regardless of how much money people think that we make, every school has its challenges financially. But we do have a budget number that we use to give other schools to come play us here. It's awesome to give one of those schools that check so they can help their budgets. So those, you know, schools and departments and players and coaches, it helps them do better, you know. And that's, I don't know how it doesn't hurt your RPI. We already play extra games because of the exempt tournaments. I've had people try to convince me that you shouldn't play a non-Division I. Let me tell you something. If we're an NCAA team after 30 games, we're an NCAA team with 31 games. If we're not an NCAA team after 30 games, we're not going to be an NCAA tournament team after 31 games. You understand what I'm saying? So I think it's the right thing to do, and you know, it allows. I was able to play some guys that I haven't put in a game in a long time. You know, so it's a win-win across the board.
Last question, Andrew.
Frank, you might not have an answer on this yet, but do you have a Felder update?
Yes, I do, but because of Christmas, I haven't had a chance to meet with my bosses, and that meeting will take place. It's going to be hard because, Kevin, outside of you, is anyone else in administration in town? I'm disappointed that they didn't invite me to go down to Tampa. Everyone else on campus is down in Tampa. Holy cow. Ray, Kevin, Jeff Crane, me and my bosses will spend some time together here pretty soon. But there's the conversations that needed to be had have been had, and now we just got to visit and get to a place of peace amongst everyone involved.